welcome to another episode of the Hollywood Knitter. It is December 21st, 2019. It is a Saturday, and I'm recording here from my home in Los Angeles, California. My name is Allison, and I am the host. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Allison1031. How's everyone doing? It is 4 days till Christmas? Yes, 4 days till Christmas. I am doing really well. I am done with my Christmas shopping, as I usually am. I do 95% of my Christmas shopping online. And then, so that was all done. And I love Amazon because I buy on Amazon and I just ship the presents directly to my family back east. And I ship them to various family members. So for my mom, she wraps my brothers and my sisters and my niece and nephew. And then I send it to my sister to wrap my mom's gifts. So that works really well. So I'm happy to be done and getting closer. I have 1.5 more days of work, and then I will be taking pretty much from Christmas until January 6th off, and I'm really excited about that. But I wanted to get on here in December and kind of show you my latest FOs, talk about what's been going on, because my next episode, which will probably be the first few days of January, I'm going to cover my January goals. Look back over 2019 and cover what I want to accomplish in 2020. Plus, I have a big FO that I wanted to talk to you guys about. So, I'm wearing it. This is my Donner by Elizabeth Doherty, and I'm going to itch my nose, and then I'm going to stand up for a second and kind of show you. This, I love this sweater. You can see I'm wearing it with my Halloween PJs, but I love it. This is... As I said, the pattern is Donner by Elizabeth Doherty, and it is knit in Knit Picks Lindy Chain, which is a 70% linen, 30% cotton. And I've only washed it once, so I actually expect a slight gauge, little bit more gauge change when I wash it again. But I'm really happy with it as it is. Now, knitting with the yarn, splitty. It was splitty, I will have to say. But the end product is great. I didn't have to do too many modifications. My gauge was really off with the Knit Picks Lindy Chain. The pattern recommends a US 4, and I actually had to go up to a 6 to get roughly the same gauge. And then I also, in theory, I lengthened it, which means I did a few more repeats. But when I measured it up against the final measurements of the pattern, I actually think that even though I did more repeats, my row gauge must have been tighter. So it is right around 24 inches. I'm actually happy with the length, so that's not a problem. I just was comparing it to the pattern earlier while I was taking my final measurements to put on Ravelry, and I realized that actually I think the pattern, it's longer, which means it's almost more like a tunic length, and mine isn't. Mine hits right where I like my sweaters to hit, kind of right below the button on your jeans. And you know, I don't wear super high jeans. And normally I will wear this with a shirt. I've already worn it once, and I wear it with a t-shirt underneath. And I generally do that with all of my sweaters. And that's just to give them more wear. You know, when you're not having your more wet areas of your body on touch your sweater, you don't have to wash them as often. And so I tend to wear a t-shirt under almost all my sweaters. And that way I only have to wash them, you know, once a season, or if needed, I will wash them more often than that. And then I don't get into trouble when I wash a sweater and shrink it, which I have done in the past. So what else did I do? The other thing I did is I lengthened the sleeve. The pattern calls for 3/4 length, so it would have been to right here. And I kind of wanted it longer. I made it like bracelet length. I think I'll just get more wear. I love 3/4 length sweaters, but I can just pull it up, you know, and wear it kind of that way. And I like that better. I used about 1,500 yards, 8.5 skeins. I had 10 skeins. So I have another skein that I'm probably going to put into a de-stash box somewhere, because I don't think I would use just a single skein for anything. But I do recommend the yarn. It is splitty, but I think a lot of cotton linen is splitty. But I love the lightweight. Like, I think in Los Angeles, I'm going to get a lot more wear out of the sweater. I'll be able to wear it in the winter, in the spring, in the fall, Heck, I could even wear it to the beach in the summer when you need that extra layer as, you know, the night goes down, it gets a little chilly. So really happy with it. The color is, what is the color? It's plum, which initially when I got it, like it seemed more purplish on the screen, but it's more of this dull kind of purpley gray, which I really like. I think I'm gonna get a lot of wear. It's a great neutral sweater. So yeah, totally happy. And I finished it in about 2.5 months. And this was my last sweater I was doing this year. I had given myself to the end of the year, and I was happy to be done before the end of the year with some time to spare and some time to wear it. So yeah, that is the Lindy chain. As I said, or not the Lindy chain, the Donner. As I said, my gauge was off, and so I actually followed the size directions, I think for 51 and a half or something, and I ended up getting a like 48-inch bust, which is what I was going for with the ease I wanted. So pretty happy with how that all turned out. Everything worked, nothing crazy, fits great. Love the neckline. It is just wide enough that I don't feel strangled, but right now, I don't have a shirt under it because I was actually wearing pajama. I just put it on for the podcast. But you can't see my bra straps, which, perfect. Perfect! So yes, so happy with this sweater. Hopefully this gives me continued awesome sweater mojo into the new year. I've done really well with my sweaters this year, so that's really exciting. The other FO I have is a pair of socks. And these are actually my Advent 2019 socks. And here they are. Aren't they gorgeous? This is a 24 stripe repeat from Kirby Werby, specifically for Advent. And this is her Christmas Vacation colorway. And it's inspired by National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, which is one of my favorite Christmas movies, period. Love it. It's a Chevy Chase. It is awesome. I've already watched it once. I will probably try to watch it at least one more time this season. And every color repeat, and she put in there, it was inspired by a different line or something from the show. But I really love it. Love it. Now, originally I was thinking these socks would be for me. However, when I started knitting them, I realized, I don't know, about halfway through the foot that it was going to be a little too big in circumference. So instead, these are going to be for my boyfriend, which is fine. He deserves awesome socks. And I was doing these through Advent, meaning I was roughly doing, or how I was doing them is I was knitting both at the same time, and I was doing 2 stripes. I cast on the toes before December 1st, and then I was doing 2 stripes every day, and I kept up with it. When I did the heels, I kind of did that all in one day, and I did the one to the length I wanted. And these are pretty long. He likes his socks a little taller, so they're like a 10-inch height. He wears a men's size 12. And I still have, like, I think I only used 3/4 of the ball. I still have like 25 grams left. So I'm really excited. I'm not sure if that's going to go in my scrap blanket, or it might be enough to kind of stripe with some kind of cool scrappy socks. But yeah, so the heel, toe, and top was a solid red I had from somewhere. I'm not even sure who it was, but I really liked the contrast. I didn't want to have the cool stripey effect for the heel. Sometimes I do. This time I didn't, and I had enough to do toes, heels, and cuff. Yeah, happy with those. It was super fast because I was so consistent. Every day doing 2 stripes on it, and I just came and I sat down and I watched a lot of Vlogmases during that, and it would take me about, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes to do, and I kept up with it every day. So now I have a done sock. So I have 2 projects done. That leaves me, since I'm not casting on, with only technically 2 projects I'm working on, but a 3rd project. So I had the Rookie socks, which were some socks I was doing for my mom in a purple. I think I showed them last episode. And I pulled them out after I finished these socks, and I realized I just wasn't loving doing the pattern. I loved the look of the pattern, but it was way more work than I wanted to do in a socks. It was, you know, knitting through the black loop a lot. It took Raisa's Res texture, and it was a little too much thought for socks. And when I looked at it, it was done in a great purple solid. I just wasn't feeling that it was what I was getting was worth the amount of effort it was taking. It was not enjoyable for me. So I ripped those socks out when I was getting my car done this week. So I only have 2 active projects that I'm working on. One is the All About Brioche shawl by Lisa Hennis, and I am really close to being done with this, guys. And this shawl is awesome too. So it is a triangular shaped shawl that starts at the tip and we work down, and it has a brioche section where you use the 2 colors and then the yellow. And my colors are from Leading Man Fiber Arts, and this is Dipping Sauce and this is Foliage and his Show Stealer, which is an 80-10-10 base. And I only have this much left, like 25 grams. My goal is to finish this by the new year, and I think I will very safely be done. So, and I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this or it's going to be a gift. It's beautiful and I really like it. And it goes so perfectly. I know I show this every time, but I love when your project bag matches your project. It's so squishy. Really what this shows me, and this is my second brioche kind of thing in a little while, is like, I love the feel of brioche, and I love the feel of this fingering brioche. So I might have to do like a hat or something in it, but this will be done. As I said, this is All About Brioche shawl by Lisa Hennis, and I will be done with it before the new year. Super excited. And I didn't really do too many changes. The only thing I did is because I want to use all of the yarn up, and it's kind of a measuring thing. And so after I finished the first section, it said if you have enough, you could increase the brioche. So I think I did 2 extra repeats of the brioche in each color. And then I'm going to knit on the yellow until it's done. The only other active project is my purse sock. And so I cast this on since I think I last saw you guys. And I'm calling this my fracture socks because this yarn is Savvy Skeins and her fracture colorway and her sensible sock. I think I picked this up at the Loopy U when I was there a few years ago. And these are for my boyfriend. And I'm using the Vanilla Latte pattern, kind of inspired, which really is just a kind of broken rib. It's kind of hard to see, but you can kind of see it set back. That's mindless enough that I can do it, but adds enough kind of look and texture that I really like it. So this is the first sock, and I've had a fair amount of work knitting. I had some training, I had kind of a long meeting that I didn't have to really actively participate, so I could sit in the back of the room and knit. So I've gotten a fair amount. I want to try to have these done by the pair done by the end of the year, and that may happen depending on how much sock knitting time I get next week. And when my niece is here, it could very well be I will be knitting on the second sock at Disneyland and Lions and things like that. So if not, it's not a big deal. These are just purse socks, but I'm hoping to try to have clean needles with the end of the new year. So I'm exclusively working on these 2 projects. If I need to throw in another project at home, I can start working again on the linen stitch blanket, and that blanket will be done next year. I've determined it is being added to my rotation seriously, and I will finish it. So that's all the knitting I have. What else has been going on since I last talked to you? In November, I've been having to deal with my sick kitty. I was actually at the vet this morning. I came home last week and I noticed that her tail, she was holding herself weird, and her tail was drooping and down, kind of like we thought something had slammed on it while she was outside. And waited a few days, and because I was worried, like, oh, if it's broken, are we gonna have to do amputation or something like that? But waited a few days before going into the vet, and she got movement back in her tail. However, during those few days, what I confirmed was something I had been suspecting for the last few weeks, is that she has been seriously having some hearing loss. As in, and it's kind of funny. My girlfriend says, how do you even know a cat's deaf or losing their hearing? And for us, the signs are very subtle. Like, you have to sort of be paying attention. And the first few times it's just like, oh, okay, well, maybe it was something else. Like, for example, she used to always, when I came home from work, come down. She sleeps upstairs, come down the stairs. Well, she wasn't coming down right away. She was coming down a little later. She always was a very kind of a skittish cat. So you would walk in a room where she's sleeping and her eyes would immediately pop open. She might not get up or anything, but she would immediately pop open. Well, now we can walk in her room where she's sleeping and nothing. I can talk at her. I can say, Kitty, Cloudy, and nothing, until all of a sudden she like wakes up and she's startled. I was concerned since we started her on a medication, which is an ointment in her ears, and she had gotten some earwax kind of crazy buildup, that maybe what I thought was an earwax buildup was an ear infection. And since she had her tail, and after a few days her tail, although she regained movement back in it, she had a pretty decent abrasion. So I decided, because we kept her in the house the last week, she didn't go outside and whatever, and I was testing my theory that she might have lost almost all of her hearing. And once I kind of confirmed that, I was like, well, I need to go to the vet. I need to make sure that it's not an ear infection that's caused this hearing loss, that it's either just age. I mean, she is 16. So I did that this morning, and they cleaned her tail up. She has like the shave spot, and it looks like whatever happened, which we're not sure, probably had to do with some type of animal. There was a puncture on it. Originally, I thought something fell on her outside, but now looks like it might have been some type of animal. And we do have little dogs that live in the patio next door, which she sometimes goes over there when she shouldn't. Or we have a neighborhood cat who kind of wanders through our patio every so often. And if she wasn't able to hear them, she might have been startled, and there might have been something where she was bit. So she doesn't get to go outside anymore when we're not here, which is fine. I was actually really surprised she hasn't been wanting to. And now we just have to be aware that try not to startle her, do movement to get her attention as opposed to call her because she doesn't hear you calling her, etc., etc. But other than that, the vet said she's fine. They cleaned her ears. There is a chance, I guess there was a lot of wax buildup. There is a chance that what I perceived as a steadiness loss might have been made worse by the amount of wax in her ear. So now that it's been cleaned, she might have a little bit more, but I think that she's deaf. So I got a deaf kitty now, but it's just fine. But it was just not a visit you want right before Christmas. It's never, any kind of major. So I did the vet visit this week, and I did like car maintenance, like brake pad replacement and things, because it just happened to be the time, and so it goes. The big thing is I am having problems thinking today. Is my niece coming, and she's coming the day after Christmas, and she is coming because my sister is having a baby. My sister is having a baby right now. I am in a text conversation with my mother. I had texted her my sister this morning, but there was I don't think there's necessarily complications, but they were worried that potentially it's not going to be a super easy birth. So she is in there. They are inducing, and et cetera, et cetera. So I didn't want to stress my sister out, especially if something were going wrong and they were having to do things by texting her. So I'm in a conversation with my mom, and everything seems to be going well. I guess there was something, and now it's whatever it was, it's been resolved, and she's in labor right now. So, or contractions and leading up to labor, and we're expecting her sometime tomorrow, and I will be having a new niece. So that will be exciting, and that is why my niece is coming to see me the day after Christmas, is so that her mom can have, not have to worry about my niece for a week while she's out of school and would be bored, and some adjustment for my niece, who will no longer be the youngest, the sole daughter, that kind of thing. So we're going to have a lot of fun with her out here, and I'm really looking forward to it. We're going to alternate some fun stuff with some, my mom calls it slug time, because there's nothing my niece, who is 9, loves more than hanging out, snuggling on the couch with you. She's on her iPad, and you're watching scary movies. That's a thing that we do together, because we both love scary movies, and nobody else in the house loves scary movies with her. So we'll watch some scary movies, some Christmas movies, all sorts of stuff. So so she's doing that, and then she goes back on the Thursday, the day after New Year's, and then I ended up still taking Thursday and Friday off work, so I'm sure I can recover from the week of fun I'm going to have with her. So Christmas, we're going to be doing our traditional Christmas. We go to my boyfriend's family for Christmas Eve. Everybody heads over at 9 o'clock and we open gifts and do presents and games and things from then until about 3 in the morning. And then everybody goes home, and then Christmas Day can either boyfriend and I will hang out and open our gifts then and just kind of have a lazy kind of Christmas Day after doing that. Though I normally get up, and I'll probably do that, wake up early to do FaceTime with the family, my mom and my brother and sister, while they open gifts back there, which sometimes I'm really, really tired. I'm going to insert a picture of my tree here because I didn't put a big tree up this year. I put a little tree, but it has some of my knit ornaments that I had done last year. That was my whole goal, was to knit ornaments for this tree. And I have about a dozen ornaments on it, and then I just bought some little ornaments. It's a really tiny tree. It's only like 2 feet. It's really the only decoration I put up. I didn't feel like pulling out my big box or putting the big tree up, but this was just enough Christmas cheer that it made me happy. What else? TV, I've been watching, like always, because that's what I do, is I knit and watch TV. I watched the latest season of Supergirl. We just started watching last night the new season, or the new show Witcher on Amazon. No, not Amazon, Netflix, which is a sci-fi fantasy show. It's interesting. It had kind of an uneven start. The boyfriend wanted to watch it because I guess it's based on a comic game. It's not based on it. It's based on a series of books, which also have a very popular comic. They have comics too. Video game that he's played. So he saw it and wanted to watch it. And it's interesting. I really like, I love a fantasy science fiction kind of show. So it is entertaining to me. And the main lead is Henry Cavill, which he's very cute. We're also watching the latest season of The Expanse, and that is on Amazon Prime. And that is a straight science fiction set in space. Very well done. We were just saying we're about halfway through the season, and it has kept the momentum. It has kept your interest, the characters. Like, you're so invested in the characters now. And I have said this before, and I'll say it again. It has some of the strongest female characters I've ever seen on a show. It also has the best multi-diverse cast. And so if you're into just a really great drama, it's really well done. I highly recommend it. It is, all the seasons are available on Amazon Prime, and then the newest one is season 4, and they already have a season 5. And this is also based on a series of books, which I have not read, but I might read after we're done. So that's kind of what we've been doing. And then all the Christmas movies on Netflix. I've been watching Netflix Christmas movies, Hallmark Christmas movies, which is not really like me, but they're really good. Sit down, don't have to think too hard, knit. So I've also been watching and keeping up on the podcasters who I do Vlogmas. There's probably about a dozen or so that are Vlogmasing this year of podcasters I regularly watch. And I've been keeping up with them, which is kind of crazy. But some do longer 20-minute ones, some do 10-minute ones, some do 3-minute ones. And so it's really a fun way to see your podcaster. If any of your podcasters Vlogmas, this is a video thing. They do basically a video every day leading up to Christmas. And you get to see different things about their lives. And it's fun. I've really enjoyed it. So really all I'm doing now is kind of getting ready for this coming week. The niece comes, and then like 2 weeks later, I'm going to see my girlfriend in Cleveland, mid-January, which will be super cold. Then in February, I'll be going to Stitches West, though I have to firm up my travel plans. And then April, Morocco. Also, I will be buying my ticket for that soon. I'm super excited. Morocco with my brother for 2 weeks. And then the other thing that we got tickets for was San Diego Comic-Con, which I'm super excited about since I was going to be missing WonderCon. We actually, every year, San Diego Comic-Con is one of the biggest Comic-Cons. It was the original one. It has grown in leaps and bounds, and now it's tapped out. It's San Diego. It has reached capacity, and the demand exceeds the capacity every year. And so the last few years I've been trying to get tickets, and they've sold out before. I've gotten them. And then this year I got taken out of the virtual waiting room and was able to score Thursday and Sunday tickets for both myself, my boyfriend, and his son. So we will be doing that in July of next year. So really excited. The only other thing I wanted to say is I wanted to do a plug for my friend Kelly from the Shorty Sutures podcast, who plugged me on hers recently. She is an audio podcast that had taken a hiatus for a number of years, and she's back. So if you're looking for an audio podcast, or if you've listened to Kelly before, she's back. You can pick her up. And I've had the pleasure of actually meeting her at the Northern California Knitting Retreat a few years ago. So that was fun. So if you are looking for an audio podcast, check her out. I've always enjoyed her speaking style and her thoughtfulness in her podcasts. I think that's it, guys. I am enjoying a quiet moment. The boyfriend went Christmas shopping because he is one of those that waits to the last minute. I'm actually surprised he's going 3 days before. Usually he is like the day before or day of buying Christmas presents. And he has to buy, the way the family does it is they still give gifts to every kid who's coming to the Christmas family event who is under the age of 21. All the adults, we just get one gift and we kind of do like not a white elephant, but like a crazy gift exchange. So he is out doing that right now. And I want to basically chill and eat some tamales that his mom made. His mom has already made tamales, so I'm going to have some Christmas tamales and enjoy some knitting time and get working on these 2 projects I want to finish so that I can have clean slate needles for January, which is super exciting. I hope everyone is enjoying the holiday where they are. Families, friends, whatever you make of it, all of your traditions. It is a fun time of year, I think. And it's mainly because it makes you think of families and friends. And of course, it's always a little sad when you think about the people who are no longer with you. I'm definitely going to miss my dad this year. But I love the reason for, not the reason, but how everyone comes together. And at least in my family, we come together, maybe talk a little more, chill a little more, and just think and love each other. So I'm hoping that that's what you have wherever you are. Love. So that's a wrap from Hollywood, where fantasy meets fiber and dreams are knit. Until next time, everybody.